Fix that.
Thanks for joining me on this beautiful day. I'm Geology Professor Sean Wilsey, on my way out west to explore some other geology highlights.
Sean, it's not a beautiful day. You have a hurricane rolling through. You have a hurricane rolling through behind you, baby. It actually is a hurricane. You have a hurricane rolling through, baby. That ain't beautiful weather. That ain't a beautiful day. Gee whiz. You gotta give me a break. I told you not for a long intro either. I told you to keep it short and simple, baby. I told you to keep it short and simple, baby. Right, Lila. That's correct. Get to the business, Sean Weasel. All right, Sean. I can already tell you what I see here. I've seen this in Minneapolis. This right here is melt flow. It is hollow underneath right here because the water was up along the shore here, okay? What happens when the melt goes and flows into the water is it will form a crust over the water, and it will be what will it be underneath? Hollow. Because the melt ain't gonna go through the water, is it? It's gonna harden when it hits the water, right? It's gonna harden. If the melt flow is coming down, it's gonna harden once it hits that water. That's what we see here. I've seen it in Minneapolis. Matter of fact, let me show you folks what I'm talking about. I'm gonna show you a quick example of the same thing here in the glorious city of Waters, also known as Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's get into it here, pants on. Show them what we're talking about.
They built all of this, stopped this flow, built all of this in the 1800s. You give me a break. Check your thinking again. That's ridiculous. Look at this. This shit was already here. They didn't do that with horse and wagons. No way. So let's get to business here. This here is pebblecrete, and it's flowing off the wall, and it's hitting the water here. And that's why these chunks are getting stuck in here, because they're getting the water and solidifying.
Solidifying
as it hits the water down here. Look, as it hits the water down here. Let's take a look here. Look at the material behind. The bricks behind. They're still kind of in brick shape, but they are just toasted. Here's two of them. Here's the mortar pillowed out and mineralized and bleeding through the wall and coming down here, bleeding off and coming down here, hitting the water and solidifying. There's the wall underneath, right here, see?
Hey, the water. The water was up against this wall during the event. So as this stuff was sliding down the wall and hitting the water, it would immediately solidify. Hence why we have a section that is void of any of this material underneath, because the wall continues underneath. Let's see here.
Layer of pebblecrete, melt. What else is that doing here, you know? Look at the melt at the bottom of the wall, coming down the wall, cascading down, hitting the water, and solidifying. And watch what happens down here. So, oh wait, we passed.
Okay, so that's what we're seeing here. The exact same thing. The flow hitting the water, leaving a void space, underneath the melt. Now, Sean, you tell us what you think this stuff is, eh? Why don't you tell us what you think this stuff is? Because I think you need some help here. There's a building behind you as well, right there. Big building on the side of the water. And no, they're not deposits. And I know you're going to say that these are lake deposits from waves crashing up and depositing these sediments in buildings and constructing right angle buildings with pillars everywhere. Yeah, I'm gonna expose those pillars you're about to show us, baby. I'm about to expose this, Brian. Or give me a break, Sean Weasel. Excuse me.
Together because of the unique chemistry that we have here in the lake.
You're not a chemist. Hey, you're not a chemist. You're supposed to be the geologist, baby.
Chemistry and the biology well enough to...
Yeah, and you're not a biologist either. No, that's correct. You're supposed to be the geologist.
To a lot of detail. But basically, there's springs that existed beneath Lake Lahontan, and there's still springs underneath this lake.
That is correct. There are still springs. That's what lakes are. And it's man-made. It's a man-made, baby. This is a man-made. It was supporting these enormous buildings that you see all around it, right here next to you here that you're standing on, that you're about to show us here. This was their water reservoir, supporting the water needs and whatever else for these gargantuan megastructures. They all have them. They all have water features around them. break.
Today, it's a regional.
And yes, all lakes seem to be fed by springs. That's why they're there. That's how they exist. And what is a spring? I have no clue what a spring really is. It's groundwater coming up from underneath. I don't know from where. I don't know.
Point, and so there's water, fresh water, groundwater coming up through this.
That's true.
And as it does so, the calcium and the carbonate in the lake water combine together to form a calcium carbonate.
You guys in your geology terms are ridiculous. We're gonna combine the geology, combine this and that. Quit combining stuff. They're melted bricks. That's all it is. Your calcium deposits here are coming from the lime in the mortar. There is calcium and lime in mortar and in bricks and in masonry. This is a masonry flood here, flowing off these buildings that you're going to show us here in a moment, with the columns everywhere. And continue, Sean. Just continue.
A type of limestone that we call tufa.
Tufa. You're a tufa. You know what, Sean? You're a tufa. You're a tufa. Limestone is melted brick.
Crazy shapes and forms
Tufa.
you see here. Let's start with a really impressive one. Are all a result of this calcium carbonate, this tufa, precipitating out of the water. And so what you get...
So it comes out of the water, builds up, and creates these big columns here. This is a round pillar you're about to show us here, eh? Let's see here.
Are just crazy forms and shapes like this, these big reefs. Now this one's been
melted,
weathered and broken off of its pedestal here. But a lot of times you'll see these
broken off of its pedestal here. Did you hear that? That is correct, Sean. That is correct. Because this was a column. He's going to show us some better ones here. Just hang on a moment. He's going to show us some better ones.
Needles, these needle-like forms on the interior.
It's just melt,
these
baby.
Are sometimes called phenolite. And then as you...
Phenolite. I love a type of tufa. I love the geology terms, baby. I love these these creative names you come up with. You got thin little strands here, so it's phenolite. Oh, that's beautiful.
Towards the outer edge, you can see it's definitely forming a concentric ring.
Now I see mortar lines. I see brick mortar lines around here. That's how you build columns in a round fucking pillar. This is how you build them. There's the mortar lines right there. Show us the better ones, Sean.
Get towards the outside edge. It looks a little bit more like...
Oh, whoa, what was that? And these are deposits and not melting down like wax and ice cream. And these are deposits from the lake right there, eh?
Broccoli or cauliflower, I suppose. Here's
the columns.
Here's a little tube up here.
Tube, yeah, pillar.
So these
a
are
round,
springs,
Sean, it's a round fucking pillar. Go show us a pillar.
Where these are in place, they'll be oriented vertically, and where they've been weathered and not...
That is correct. They were vertical. Now they are what? Laying on the ground, baby.
By wave action or other processes, they'll be laying on their side like this one here. Let's see if we can find...
Look at the melt.
So these are all more or less...
like ice cream.
In place here.
Like ice cream.
I think what we'll do with this video is we're going to be kids. We're just going to be little kids and explore this.
You know, Sean, I knew a Sean when I was a little kid. When I was in childhood, Sean, I knew a Sean like you. And he bugged the living daylights out of me, baby.
Land of little tufa towers and cauliflower, and almost some of them look like reefs, like coral reefs. Just these incredibly bizarre shapes along the margin of Pyramid Lake. And so Lake Lahontan, as was the case with Lake Bonneville, hit its high point about, I think, 15 to 13,000 years ago. The climate was wetter and cooler, so the lake was very high and deep. And then eventually, as it started to drop, these tufa deposits,
they're just columns, baby,
became left high and dry, and so they
those are columns
just being exposed here. Here's a nice one.
Look at the mortar.
Where you can see...
Look at the mortar between. Look at the mortar between. This is a column. There's a layer of mortar right here. This is how you build columns with bricks. Here's a layer of mortar right here in the rendering of it. The rendering of it, which is all right here. That's the rendering of it. Another one here melted. This column melted right into this one. This column here, and they're built the same way. You see, they're built the same fucking way. This donut shape, baby. That's how pillars are constructed with bricks. With mortar and bricks. And they're melted together here. What a mess. Look at the red bricks on the ground, baby. Show us some more evidence. I know you have more.
The concentric rings here. So this was a spring. This was a spring at the bottom of the lake, and it precipitated all this.
That was a spring at the bottom of the lake. It's a column on a building, baby.
Tufa
on a melted building.
While it was underwater. And the tufa is still being deposited and precipitated today. We can head down to the shoreline here again in a second.
Another pillar.
Get some of the tufa.
Another pillar.
Forming on some of the rocks there. But just an amazing. I'll put a link to the USGS little publication that I used for this site, because they describe in a little bit more detail all the different shapes and such and forms of tufa and varieties you see here.
Yeah.
So you can see as we head down towards the water's edge, we've got this
slabby. Yes, that is the melt flow. That's slabby melt flow. And it's hollow underneath because the water, it was layering up against the water, on top of the water, and solidifying atop the water, like we saw in Minneapolis.
Deposit.
No, they're not deposits from the lake. Deposits from the lake don't do this. How?
It's actually cementing the class together.
It is cementing. It is cementing because that's what it is. It's now a conglomerate of cement that has flowed. Masonry materials. It even looks like masonry material because it is. And there should be lots of lime in it. Why don't you show us that there's lime in it? Because it's mortar and masonry materials.
Salt in here, but
hey, Sean. That ain't smart. It's hollow underneath you. Why are you slapping the slab that you're standing on here? You're gonna fall right through, baby. You're gonna fall right through. That's not very smart.
By this tufa deposit.
That wasn't smart, was it?
Which just forms
no.
a thin.
No, Sean, that wasn't smart. You almost fell right through, baby.
Veneer, almost like a shelf. Let's drop down here.
Any bricks down here? Yeah. Oh yes.
How thin this little deposit is here.
Straight line.
A little bit of like almost cross bedding there with this angled.
Give me a break with your cross bedding. The mortar lines and bricks. That's why there's straight lines.
Unit here, and then this shelf above it.
Slid down with the building.
The tufa is actually forming on the rocks today. So this water is highly concentrated in calcium carbonate.
I'm sure it is.
See the whitish mats that are forming, these slimy little deposits that are forming on some of these particles. Again, there's a little bit of biology that goes on as well, some microbes.
You're not a biologist.
Aid in the process. But for the most part, it's this chemical precipitate on the surface here. And just to quickly show you that it is a type of limestone, we often use hydrochloric acid to transfer this stuff. And hopefully you can see it fizzing there a little bit. We'll put it on one of these other ones. I think it'll.
The lime is present, buddy, because why? The lime is present in the mortar and the bricks. That's why, especially the mortar. That's why the lime everywhere. It should be present in this stuff. That's
react a little bit better.
Right here. Right here.
Some of these here.
Yeah. There you go.
So
there you go.
Kind of bubbling and fizzing.
Proves our point.
And reacting to the acid.
That proves our point, Sean Weasel.
Let's take a walk over here. Again, this is just sort of like fantasy land. Just all these crazy shapes and forms. So we've got this lakeside shoreline slabby deposit of tufa. But then we have these mounds, and these shapes over here probably represent springs.
Columns.
It's hard to tell.
They're round pillars, and they're melted together. Look, these pillars have melted together, baby. These fucking pillars have melted together, you fucking tufa. Give me a break.
Unbroken. You can see how lobate these look here. If we look at them on end, yeah, they look a little bit different with some of the concentric rings.
You see the rendering on it.
You can see it's almost like a popcorn texture, like cauliflower or broccoli, I guess, too. And here's a large one that's been busted open. This is similar.
Same style of construction.
At the beginning of the video.
Same style of construction. A much larger column here. Same style of construction with the rendering and the construction of it with these wedged. There'll be wedge shapes. These bricks will be wedge shapes all the way around, you know, like wedges. And excuse me. And that's what we see here with a rendering and mortar between and the next layer of bricks. And that's how these are made, Sean Weasel. And they're completely destroyed. Completely.
With the thinolite crystals.
Same stuff in the other column. Same stuff.
Sort of
Melted
surrounding it
limestone.
in the interior, and then that kind of grades into more of a cauliflower type texture in here, and then back to...
And what my idea is, why we get these different patterns in the crystallization, is because we had different temperature. We had temperature differences. You know, if you go across, if you're in Montana, say, during this event, it may be a lot cooler up there, right? So you'll get different crystals forming when they cool to different temperatures at different rates, creating different types of minerals depending on how fast, how quickly it heated and how quickly it cooled. That's what we're seeing here. That's my opinion.
Those thin needle-like crystals over on this side.
Show us the next one. Show us the bricks that I was looking at over there.
Let's see, and then lastly,
hey, Sean, yeah, show us the bricks we were looking at. Show us the bricks in the mortar.
Check these out over here.
Let's do it, baby.
Some of the more interesting shapes along the shore.
Another column.
This is kind of fun. So here we have, I guess we'd call this a conglomerate.
Wait. Before you show us, hey, shut up, Sean. Before you show us that stuff. Oh, what the baby? Sean, shut up. Show us what I was looking at there. Hold on.
Right over here.
Right here.
Some of the more interesting shapes.
Look at this. Another round fucking pillar laying here. Half of it laying here. And look at here. Like I said, wedge-shaped bricks make these out. Wedge-shaped bricks are what construct these columns and pillars, baby. There's the impressions. Now show us those bricks with the mortar around them.
Along the shoreline.
Those balloon bricks.
So here we have
balloon bricks.
I guess we'd call this a conglomerate. We've got
balloon bricks with mortar around them still. With mortar around the bricks still. This is a part of a wall right here that you're looking at, Sean Weasel. These are parts of a wall that have come down that you're looking at, Sean Weasel, with the mortar around the bricks still, which have now turned into balloon rocks and balloon bricks. And there's still mortar around them, around these bricks. Let's see here.
Class of rock.
Again, do you see this? Look at the mortar around it. Look at the mortar around the motherfucking brick. Okay? You should have safety glasses on, Sean.
But they're encased in and cemented by
it turned
all of this tufa.
Did you see that red piece come out when he did that?
Big chunk here, and here's a really nice one here where you can see some of the concentric rings around this dark volcanic clast.
No, there's a mortar. It's a mortar, baby. Look at the mortar around the
neat location.
Give me a break. They're red still, baby. These are red bricks with the mortar around them, Sean Weasel. Look up here even. Excuse me. Continue.
Different type.
Continue. They all have mortar around them. Why is that? What is this? It's a piece of a wall, baby. Sean Weasel. You have failed this exam, all right? Get out of here. I love you all. Take care.